Okay, so this is a Form 1919 form. These are going to be filled out for pretty much every SBA loan on the 7A program, at least, possibly the 504 program as well. So we're just going to walk through item by item, give an overview. So this will give pretty clear instructions. Anybody that is sole prop, partnership, LLC, anybody that has 20% or greater will need to fill out their own form. So if you have 3% or 3 people in the entity that own 20% or more, they're going to have all 3. If it's only one obviously, and if there's multiple. So here you'll put the name of the actual business that's going to take title to the project. So if it's under Mangut Investments LLC, that's going to be your applicant. Then the member will go here under the name. The title, which will probably say member, managing member, their individual social security number, and then date of birth, place of birth. And the Form 1919 is really going to just identify and do background checks. It's a more in-depth federal background check for applicants to identify if they've had any felonies or anything that might be prohibitive. Even if they have had criminal backgrounds, that doesn't prohibit them. They would just have to provide an application, and then it would have to get submitted back to Washington, D.C. in order to go through a process. So that could delay things. We try to get these up front just to confirm if there is any issues, because a lot of times they might not even remember. So it may not even be malicious, but we just need to find out. So this should happen fairly early on in the process. Place of birth, then we're going to want to answer all these sections, gender, veteran, race, ethnicity, and then the percentage of ownership, and then obviously veteran, gender, race, ethnicity. So this is just, pretty much going back to them benefiting for lots of purposes. If it's a woman-owned business, etc., that would help it with some more qualifications. Then they'll have this section with all these questions. I'm not going to go through it. They're pretty self-explanatory. Are you presently subject to an indictment, criminal information, arraignment, or other means by which formal criminal charges are brought in any jurisdiction? So they just need to answer these. You can't really answer them for them, although you can fill it out over the phone if you want to. They're going to have to be the ones that ultimately sign it. You'll notice if they do say yes to these questions, it's ineligible for SBA assistance. So, and then it'll just walk through each one of these as to if it's going to be an issue, if they need to provide more documentation. Number one, obviously, is an automatic deal killer at the present time. Then you'll continue down here, 7 through, looks like, well, all the way down to 22, just answering yes and no, and then true or false. So just make sure that they're really clear when they answer this, and make sure that they answer this with full accuracy, because obviously this is a federal document. The rest of these are probably nothing that you need to really read. They might want to. Obviously, you can encourage them, but it's just talking about all the different acts: Privacy Act, right to financial privacy, freedom of information, flood disaster protection, executive orders, et cetera, all these different jurisdictions and publications that are applicable for this. And then obviously at the very bottom, they need to sign it and date it, and then put their name, just certifying that everything that they put on here is true and accurate. Obviously, you can see there's a pretty large fine if it is not. So just make sure that they're aware of it, make sure they sign it, and make sure that they understand what it is that they are signing. So that is the Form 1919 for the SBA.